Get stuck into some cricket.
Yes, kick us off, Peps. What we had Australia Pakistan one day.
Yeah, the ODI series, 3 games. So all of it unfolded this week. Pakistan beating Australia in an ODI series for the first time in 20 years, and it was their first home series win against Australia since 1988. So before any of us old fucks were born. Mitch Marsh and Ashton Agar had to miss the series. Marsh with a hip flexor injury. Ashton Agar had the spicy flu.
The spicy flu, yep.
Game 1, geez, we got off to a good start, didn't we? Seems like a long time ago. It was only 6 days ago. Travis Head opening the batting, hadn't opened for a little while.
What do you think of that?
Well, I was kind of questioning it at first, not renowned as an opener, and then I thought, hang on, he has scored runs here before, and it was that Australia day where him and Warner went absolutely mental opening the batting 4 years ago, I think, something like that.
Was that one day or T20? Because I know
that was a one day.
He's definitely put up some big scores in the T20 format, especially in the Big Bash.
Yep.
So I guess it showed his point that he's definitely got the talent to swing the bat around.
Definitely. 101 off 72. He reached 100 before the 25 over mark, or around about the 25 over mark. So had he have not gotten out on 101, it could have been really rewriting some records.
His partner, though, has been a bit of a struggle, but I think we'll talk about him.
We'll get to him in just a second. He had a solid 30 odd in that one, actually. It was actually the 8th fastest 100 by an Aussie ever in ODIs. Number 1 is Glenn Maxwell off about 51 balls. Number 2 will surprise you. I don't think you're going to get it, so I'll just put you out of your misery. James Faulkner. James Faulkner has the 2nd fastest 100 ever out of an Aussie. And it was
Where was it right?
Must have been middle, it must have been 6 or something. I don't know. Maybe look it up. It was against India.
To save the game?
In India, 2013, 14, around about then. The other guys on that list, Steve Smith's on there twice, Gilchrist, Hayden, guys that you'd expect to be scoring fast tons. And like I said, Head could have scored a lot more. Australia could have scored a lot more in this one. Didn't actually matter in the end. 7 for 3, 113. They were looking down the barrel of about 400 at one stage. Ben McDermott, 55, and Cam Green chipping in as well. Pakistan, despite Imam ul Haq's best efforts, were dismissed for 225. So ul Haq had 103, Babar Azam 57. So 160 runs between those two, and the rest of the team only managed 65. Almighty collapse, Adam Zampa at the spearhead of that one, 4 for 38. We'll get into game 2. Do you have the Jimmy Faulkner's? Yeah, Bangalore?
I think so, yeah. So he rounded out his first international tour of India, breaking Matt Hayden's record for the fastest ODI century. 57 deliveries.
57? Yeah, right. 57 deliveries. So he held the record for a bit until Maxi must have broken it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Crazy.
Jimmy Faulkner. Jimmy. Pay him his money, PSL. Hopefully he got his cash. Game 2. Pakistan won this game, and like we alluded to just earlier, it wasn't for a lack of trying from the Aussie sticks. 348 they made. Travis Head, again, very good, 89. That man we alluded to before as well, Finchy, first ball quacker. Ben McDermott, geez, we've been on him for so long.
We're waiting for him just to put a big
chance.
Thank you. Good on you, Ben McDermott. 104, first international ton, coming off that really poor T20 international series against Sri Lanka. Didn't get picked up in the IPL, which we thought was a bit of a head scratcher, given the money that Tim David got.
Yes.
He actually grew up playing with Marnus, and they were batting together when he reached his 100, so a nice embrace between the two former Queenslanders, still Queenslanders, but growing up together, going through Queensland academies. There's footage that Marnus posted of them batting together in the nets as probably about 14-year-olds. So know each other pretty well. Marnus himself chipped in 59, and the big puppy Stoin 49. And guess what? It got chased down, and they did it pretty easy. They won by 6 wickets with an over to spare, and it's the same names that we'll be talking about all series review. Imam ul Haq 106, Babar Azam 114 to set up what should have been a thrilling game 3. It was kind of a little bit one-sided. Pakistan absolutely all over us.
Did we win all 3 tosses too, by the way?
Oh, good question. That
batted first.
Yeah, batted.
I assume so. Yeah,
I'd assume so. The decks were pretty conducive to batting. But yeah, just horror start last night, and credit to Shaheen Shah Afridi. Head played all around that ball, but it dipped. It looked like it was going to be kind of a big full toss, and then it ended up kind of dipping late, and yorked him. He went first ball. Finch trapped in front by Harris Ralph, second ball quacker, and then Marnus schnicked up Australia 3 for 6.
In trouble.
In big trouble. Stoinis and McDermott sort of offered a little bit of resistance, but they went 5 for 67. Carey 56, Sean Abbott 49, sort of steadied the ship to a semi-respectable 210. And our bowlers could not stop those two guys, Babar Azam and Imam ul Haq. 105 not for Babar, 89 not for Imam ul Haq. How's this one for you? Babar Azam has the highest ODI average ever. Minimum 2,000 runs. That's a caveat. So out of anyone that scored 2,000 runs, Babar is averaging 59.18. He is number 1 all time on that list. Number 2, Virat Kohli. And number 3, Imam ul Haq, who's averaging 53.9 in white ball cricket. In this ODI series alone, those two made... ul Haq had 298 runs and Azam 276 runs. Both dismissed twice, so finishing with averages of 149, 138. Pretty handy.
Yeah,
pretty handy going.
Take that. Yeah.
We sort of spoke about it last week. Pakistan, we think they're back. They looked, despite going down in the Test series 1-0, they definitely held their own and looked really on top in a few of those draws. And obviously their white ball prowess is no surprise at all, and good on them for getting the series win.
It's great, of course, to see them playing at home as well. So, yes, there is probably a little bit of the hometown advantage. So it'd be great to see them on the road again. But they've been playing like that for years. So yeah, they've got that advantage, and they're playing against one of the best teams in the world. Trying to push themselves back into the conversation of the top 4 teams. They don't want to kind of be left out, where South Africa was for a little while, and they've also starting to work their way back in the conversation, and then the English
working their way out of the conversation.
Yeah, exactly. So
we'll get to them in just a second.
Yeah. So it's good, definitely good to see, especially in that part of the world. I can't wait to see a Pakistan-Indian tour. Either way, those two going head to head, going back and forth. I think that'd be excellent.
Even that first game of the T20 World Cup when Pakistan upset India and smashed them by 10 wickets, and just the global hysteria around it. It's the Ashes is big. Don't get me wrong, but Pakistan and India is just it's next level. Aaron Finch, what are we thinking here, lads? The form slump continues. He had those 2 ducks and a 30. He didn't have a very good Big Bash. His T20 international form has been pretty poor. People do kind of have short memories, I suppose. The last sort of we just haven't played a lot of ODI cricket. Last time that we were playing ODIs down under, Finch was batting really, really well. He still has a pretty handy ODI record. Average is about 43. I think he's got 17 ODI tons off the top of my head. What do we think is Cricket Australia's plan around Aaron Finch going forward? He is the captain of both white ball sides. We've got the T20 World Cup coming up in October, November. Do they say, look, Finchy, you're our leader till then, and then we'll reassess, or is this the swan song for Aaron Finch?
So, on his history, white ball form, he had the poor T20 series in New Zealand that led into the World Cup, and his World Cup wasn't bad, but it wasn't amazing, and potentially maybe he was hidden a little bit with the other big names coming back into that squad, so it wasn't that big of an issue. But then in Pakistan essentially is the first white ball cricket to follow that afterwards. So, and yeah, his form hasn't been great. He's old. It's probably not going to help his chances. 35. So maybe, like you say, they give him the chance of the T20 World Cup, or do they slide McDermott up the list a little bit and then put in another bat that has been performing? I think I went hard after him after New Zealand, saying he needed something, and then he put together one good innings that probably saved him and let him run into the World Cup. And he didn't do huge, but he did enough. Long term, it's probably his last year, I'd say, in international cricket. Just purely at age and his form's probably starting to slip. They want to get the young guys into the white ball cricket. They've got heaps, Philippine English are kind of sitting there that need a bat. So if McDermott slides up, maybe someone can come in. Of course, you've got to remember that T20 World Cup team probably will have other big names in it that also didn't play.
Warner
yeah.
comes to mind.
Yeah.
But again, similar age, hasn't been showing the form slump. Finchy, his last 18 T20 internationals, he has 150 out of that. And I've just got the graph up here. That people do forget how elite. He made
T20 decade team for that.
He's got the highest score ever, I believe, in a T20 international.
Yeah. So that run from when T20 essentially was created until 2020 was elite, and then post that, it just hasn't been the same.
172 he scored against Zimbabwe. I do believe that is the highest T20 score ever. Do you guys know how he got out then? Hit wicket. Poor fellow on 172. Anyways, look, I think I remember when you were going a bit ham on Finchy after that poor New Zealand form, and I was like, show some respect. He's still an Aussie legend. His record speaks for himself. Yeah. I've probably come over towards your camp now and starting to think, geez, this form is really it's getting hard to defend.
Long in the tooth, and that's when you start to worry.
Exactly right.
If he was a young fella, if this is Cameron Green, we're like, just keep him in there. He's got time.
If he was a young fella, he'd be gone.
True.
They wouldn't let a young fella, we're just going to develop him, and he's made runs once out of the last 18 knocks.
I guess for an Opa. So
it's his name and his captaincy that's saving him.
Really. If Usman's doing this, he's getting dropped 100%.
Well, there's an interesting one as well. Usman, after his test series, couldn't break into that ODI side. Again, a bit of a head scratcher, you'd think, given the form that he's been in. If for me, out of respect to Aaron Finch, I think Cricket Australia should say, "Yep, you're the skipper, you're the leader. T20 World Cup in 6 months.
Yep,
you lead till then. We'll see how you guys go. We'll reassess after that, and then if it's about having the conversation about about moving forward, I think that would be fair."
I'd say that's what they push him. It was like, that's your last tournament. Hopefully go out a winner, retire, and see yourself job done.
Let us know in the comments if you've got any thoughts around Aaron Finch.
Rickon said he's washed. So. Did you see Rickon's comment? Oh, go. Sorry.
The only thing I was going to add to that is probably with the leadership changeover with Langer out as head coach, whether that will have anything to play into it. Maybe Finchy was his boy for the last last
captain coach
year. So
everyone. There's no secret that the whole hierarchy of Cricket Australia is a mate system.
Yeah.
And if you're not a mate, you kind of get the tap on the shoulder pretty quick, as we saw with poor JL and the playing group kind of wanting to part ways with him. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But my gut feeling is we'll see Finchy at the World Cup, and then maybe they'll move forward from there.
I just wanted to bring up Rick in the chat was talking about the PCB proposed a 4-team tournament with Australia, India, England and Pakistan.
Would love to see it. As I choke on my water.
It was so good he joked.
How good would that be? That's probably the 4 best teams in the world at the moment. Poor New Zealand, I suppose, has to be thrown into that conversation.
England's in that conversation, whether they get...
Anyway,
but I think
let's reassess what I've just said. It's probably the 4 biggest markets. Let's say that. Let's
for cricket, yes, I agree.
Would love to see it. Will they actually, get that through to fruition? Who knows?
Yeah. Well, I guess that's where the ICC World Championships kind of was meant to kind of fill that role a little bit. Kind of not towards a tournament style, but how do you play a test tournament? Unless you're going to lock out a couple of months in the year to do it.
That's why they got the World Test Championship that plays over 2 years. That was their thinking.
Exactly.
And a lot of purists were like, "Oh, that's bullshit," But I really liked it. I thought it was quite interesting.
And I believe Australia are on top.
Yeah, we are on top of that at the moment, and England is dead last.
Yeah.
Speaking of, that's Plum. Thank you very much. We've got the girls on. And
England are in trouble.
England are in big trouble and no support from the other end. England 3 for 86 after 15.